The sea groaned under the weight of 1,000 ships, their sails swollen by wine's center, so it was believed by the gods themselves. On the deck of one of these ships stood Protesilaus, king of Hellas, son of Iphiclus, and a man fated to die. He was not the strongest among the Greeks, nor the most famed. He did not possess the rage of Achilles or the cunning of Odysseus. But in the shadow of a prophecy, it was he who would become the first to meet destiny face to face. The oracle had spoken, perhaps at Delphi, perhaps at another sacred shrine. The first Greek to set foot on Trojan soil shall be the first to die. Every warrior knew of it. The rumor spread across ships like smoke before battle. The tension was unbearable as they neared the shores of Troy. No one wanted to be the first. Even the fiercest heroes hesitated, their sandals posed on the edge of the boats. But Protesilaus did not waver, whether out of duty, pride, or a desire to shield his men from the curse. He made his choice. As his ship struck land, and the hull scraped against the foreign sands, he leapt from the prows were drawn, heart steady, and in that single step, he sealed his fate. Some say he had only moments to lift his shield before death met him. One version claims Hector, prince of Troy, struck him down in a single blow, his first kill of many. Another version tells of Pandarus, the skilled archer, losing an arrow from afar that pierced the young king's heart. Still others whisper it was Aeneas, or a nameless Trojan seeking glory. But in truth, the name of his killer matters little. Protesilaus became the first Greek to fall at Troy. His men, stunned by his sacrifice, charged onto the beach behind him, filled with grief and fury. Blood met sand. The Trojan War had begun it with a roar, but with a single, silent death. The grief of Laodamia, far away in the green hills of Thessaly. Laodamia, wife of Protesilaus, waited for news. Theirs had been a quiet love, deep and steady. She had prayed for his safe return each night. But when the black-sailed messenger ship arrived, she already knew. They say the gods wept for her sorrow, and granted her a gift no mortal had ever received. For just a few hours, Protesilaus was allowed to return from the underworld, to stand once more in the home they had shared, to feel her arms around him. When Laodamia saw him, she fell to her knees in disbelief. He looked just as he had before, strong, gentle, mortal. She touched his face, clung to him as though her grip alone could defy Hades himself. Time slowed. The moments stretched thin like silk in the wind. But all gifts from the gods come at a cost. As the final moment passed, death reclaimed him. His body faded, his spirit drawn back into the underworld. Laodamia was left alone again, emptier than before. Mad with grief, she had a bronze statue cast in his image. She dressed it in his clothes, placed it in their bed, whispered to it as though he still lived. Day after day, she lived in a dream, holding on to his shadow. Her father, unable to bear the sight of her madness, burned the statue in the fire of sacrifice, hoping to break the spell of mourning. But instead, Laodamia threw herself into the flames, choosing to die beside her beloved, as she could not live without him. The hero after death. In time, Protesilaus was honored as a hero. A heron, a shrine, was built for him in Hellas, where his people left offerings and prayers. Near Elaeus, in the Thracian Chersonese close to the battlefield, another sacred grove rose in his name. It was said his spirit protected sailors and warriors, especially those who faced their fears with open eyes. He became more than a man, he became a symbol. But even in death, his story didn't end. Legends claimed his spirit wandered restlessly, especially around his tomb near Troy. At night, some swore they saw a spectral figure rise from the earth, sword in hand, seeking vengeance for the life cut short. Others noted that the trees near his resting place never grew straight, but leaned away from Troy, as if turning their backs on the land that had claimed him. A forgotten hero. Today, Protesilaus is a name lost in the shadow of giants, Achilles, Hector, Odysseus. He had no great battle, no 10-year legacy of war. He didn't live long enough to become a legend. But maybe that's why his story matters. He knew what was waiting for him on that beach. He stepped forward anyway. He chose duty over fear, honor over survival. His was not the glory of victory, it was the glory of sacrifice. And though time has buried his name beneath the weight of greater myths, the wind still carries his story, soft as a whisper across the Aegean, across the ruins of Troy, a tale of courage, a tale of love, a tale of the first to fall.